Let's talk about positioning. Positioning, okay? So the objectives for this particular lesson are: define what positioning is and why it's important, describe how positioning helps brands and products, and then also explain how to position products and common positioning problems that the marketplace runs into. Let's dive in. Positioning. What is it? Positioning is a strategy for defining and portraying brands or products in ways that cause the ideal customer to perceive them as the best solution for their needs. All right, so the idea here is the best solution. That's the key word, the best solution. In the past, we've discussed marketing being a means of communication between brands, partners, products, consumers, right? By positioning, a marketer is making sure that the correct people are being communicated with and that the customer sees the value in their product. You'll understand this more and more as I give you examples of what positioning is and how it plays out. So here it is. In the cluttered world that we live in, positioning helps companies stand out. It helps people answer the question, why should I buy from you though? Why? Because, for example, I could be a diaper company that sells premium diapers, and then there's another diaper company that sells premium diapers. I sell Huggies, you sell Pampers. Why would I buy Huggies over Pampers? Why would I buy Pampers over Huggies? These are both brands of diapers. What do you have to say to get me to know that you get me, that I get you, that there's something about us that makes trust happen? So positioning is really a tool. You got to think about all the ads that you see each day and think about the ones that stood out to you. Odds are that those ads were positioned with you in mind. There was something about you and how you think that made that ad resonate with you, and your friend that might have been there or might have seen that ad, or a stranger that might have been there and might have seen that ad, it did nothing for them. Okay, so positioning is that power that allows that marketer to say the thing that touches you. It's like, oh man, they get me. Okay, so the way that positioning happens, it doesn't just happen. Okay, so marketers first have to identify a space in the market for which the product is ideally suited. And then they've got to go through a process for developing a market position. So you got to say, okay, when I look at, let me show you an example here because there's a positioning matrix here. Okay, so let's say you are a maker of, you invented some sort of breakfast granola bar, and you were the first to ever invent it, right? Let's say you were the first to ever invent the first granola bar, all right? So you would have had to look at the market and say, you know what? When it comes to breakfast foods, there are expensive ones, there are inexpensive ones. And then there are ones that take a short time to make and ones that take a long time to make. I'm seeing that in the quick and inexpensive quadrant, that really we just have fruit available. People don't really have a lot of options besides fruit. Everything else is either expensive and quick, slow and expensive, or inexpensive and slow. We need to create a quick and inexpensive. There's a position in the market that we can fill, where if you then develop a product that fulfills that, you can then come out and talk to the people that need to move in the mornings and don't have a lot of money. You can talk to college students that need to get out the door and have a low budget, and you can speak to them and say, listen, we know you don't have the budget to buy expensive meals, but we know that nutrition matters to you. Right? And so we made this granola bar as a healthy option for people on the go, for college kids on a budget, to get you the health that you need without sacrificing your money and your income. You can still live a healthy life and have a healthy approach to breakfast and in the morning without breaking the bank. And our granola bars help you do that. That's an example. I didn't just say an ad. What I did was I gave you a positioning statement, a way for a business to say, here's a space in the market that is underutilized or untapped that we can capture. Okay. So I just told you, I just gave you a positioning statement. So what that is really a succinct expression of a product's market position. And when you take that positioning statement and you turn it into something that is communicated publicly, then when you're communicating your positioning statement, then it's called a unique selling proposition or a USP. Let me give you an example. Before McDonald's was invented, they probably saw a space in the marketplace for fast, customizable meals for any budget. They probably saw that there was a position in the marketplace that was untapped for fast meals that were affordable and that somebody could customize, right? So that might have been, they went and they did the research, they created the product, they created the system, they put it in place, and maybe behind the scenes, their positioning statement is that they create customizable meals for anybody on a budget. That's what they talk about internally. But publicly, what are they telling you and me? Have it your way. Have it your way. That is their unique selling proposition. Sometimes you might hear this as a slogan. It's not always a slogan, but you get the difference between the positioning statement and the USP, okay? USP is what you hear and see, usually in commercials. Positioning statement is more internal. It's what position they found and expressing that in a meaningful way internally, okay? So positioning comes in many different strategies. Companies can decide to be the first. They can decide to position as a follower. You know, people are already out there, but we got something better. That quadrant is already filled with a bunch of people, but ours is better because. Or they can say, you know, we used to be in this quadrant, but now we are repositioning to this quadrant. So companies can position in all different ways, being first, being a follower, and also repositioning. That said, companies can do positioning wrong. When this happens, this is when companies stop selling a product. Oftentimes you hear of products that essentially disappear off the marketplace. Under positioning is when a product has no clear advantage or differentiation. You thought you would, or you kind of botched it. So you really, what you're selling out there, people are like, that's not a problem I have. I never told you I needed an inexpensive thing. I like fruit. Everybody loves fruit. We don't want granola bars. That's not a thing that humans want if that had happened, right? That'd be an under-positioning example. Over-positioning is when the product has been positioned too narrowly. You went too narrow on it. Let me give you an example. Blockbuster, years ago, was only catering to people that wanted to watch VHS movies or DVD movies. That's all they wanted. They were approached by Netflix to partner. They turned Netflix down. They were really overly positioned. They were hyper-positioned on just that TV and DVD watching person that wanted that disc. They did not see themselves catering to a streaming audience. This whole idea of that audience that likes to stream, that was not in their quadrants. They were like, that's not a thing. That's like not going to happen, right? So next thing you know, Blockbuster is out of business, right? They were too narrowly focused. They did not stretch out. You see how marketing and positioning and thinking about your audience and where their spaces in the marketplace can literally make a company either die or live? I'm telling you, marketing is powerful. And just the positioning state that marketers go through can be what positions you for future growth or kills you on the vine, honestly. You can also have confused positioning, doubtful positioning, as well as irrelevant positioning. I want you to make sure you dive into these inside your reading when you get into it. But the names kind of give you a sense of it. Confused positioning is when a product is claiming too many things. They're almost contradictory. And people are like not clear. What exactly does your product do? How exactly does it help me? I'm confused. I don't understand what you're trying to tell me. Doubtful is when a product is positioned in a way that the benefits are simply just not believable. I just don't believe it. You might be clear. You're not confusing me, but whatever you're saying, I'm not buying it. There's no product that could ever do that thing. And then irrelevant positioning is when a product claims benefits or differentiation that really don't nobody care about it. Okay. Everybody's like, doesn't matter. I don't have the problem that bad, right? So you're really speaking to people about things that are irrelevant. You're stressing too much about that pain and nobody has that pain. Okay. So that's irrelevant positioning. You got it? You with me? All right. The key here is that positioning, when you're thinking about positioning, you might be thinking, well, but we really want to cater to everybody. Like if McDonald's was like, but we really want to make healthy meals. We want even healthy people to want to buy McDonald's. Well, you can't have it all. Okay. So you cannot appeal to everybody. You can't appeal to everybody. One size does not fit all. You can have healthy options, but you know, your main audience is the people that want fast, easy, customizable meals. That's what you need, and that's what you sell. And so that's the audience you should really be going after, and maybe have a few healthy options for if they want to have a healthy meal at times. Okay. Positioning, let me make sure you get it, is all about showing value to customers. It's not about the technical features of a product. It's about the value, the ways that you're adding value to their lives, the time you're saving them, the money you're saving them, the health benefits or the other types of benefits you're bringing to their lives, and not so much that we sell the red widget and everybody else sells the blue widget. Okay, it's why should I care about the red widget? What difference does it make in my life? Positioning is incredible. It's all about creating messaging that aligns with people. And I will tell you, let me tell you a story. Before I came into academia, when I worked at a big marketing agency, not only did we have a big research team, as I've mentioned in the past, we also had a huge positioning team. And what this audience did, or what this group did, was really try to understand the marketplace, the products that are out there, the customers, the competition, and really say, here's a sweet spot, here's a white space in the marketplace that you could own, and here's how you could enter it. Then the creative people would join the story and join the process, and they would say, oh, if we enter that, here's the messaging we could use. Then the graphics people would get involved, and they would come up with a way to visually represent the product. You know, this is how your product could look. This is how your logo could look. This is how your packaging could look. And the writers would say, and this is how you could talk about it in commercials, in the news, in the press. This is how you could communicate it. Before it ever went to the public, our teams developed the positioning space. We identified the space. We figured out what the statement should be. We then created the USP and then created the go-to-market strategy. Here's how you should price it. Here's where you should sell it. Here are the partners you should align with. All of that behind the scenes before anybody ever saw a good or service. So this stuff happens and it works really, really well. All right, so let's wrap up what we've learned about positioning so far. The goal of positioning is to show value of a product to a target market. Positioning helps companies and helps a product or a service to stand out to consumers, okay? And lastly, positioning statements and positioning matrices, you know, the quadrant that we looked at, can help to provide clarity when you're trying to create a positioning angle or positioning a product or service in itself. Okay, so positioning is hugely powerful, and it is really the key to how marketers decide what new products should be invented, how to price that product, and how to message that product so people actually care enough to purchase it.